The colony was silent, almost too silent. The usual hum of machinery and chatter of workers had vanished. Instead, there was a low, rumbling growl that made every human freeze in place. Out on the rocky plateau, the Terror-Hound prowled. Its body was massive, covered in black, bristling scales that shimmered under the alien sun. Its eyes glowed red, scanning the settlement like it was hunting something far more dangerous than itself. The ground shook slightly with each step it took, sending loose stones tumbling down the cliffs. "Stay inside. Don't even look at it," a technician shouted from behind the metal walls of the command hut. But not everyone obeyed. Ilara, one of the colony's most experienced scouts, moved slowly toward the open field. Her heart pounded, but her eyes were steady. "It's scared," she muttered under her breath. "Not evil. Just scared." A group of colonists pressed close to the shelter, watching, trembling. Some whispered prayers, others gripped improvised weapons. The Terror-Hound let out a deafening roar, showing rows of jagged teeth. Sparks of light reflected in its eyes, and the air seemed to vibrate with menace. The humans could feel it in their bones, the raw, wild power of a creature that had no master but survival. Ilara dropped her bag of supplies slowly. The metallic clank echoed and she froze, expecting the beast to attack. But the Terror-Hound tilted its head, sniffing the air, watching her with curiosity rather than pure aggression. "Easy, easy," she whispered, crouching down a little. Her hands moved slowly toward the ground, making sure every motion was calm and deliberate. From the safety of the shelter, a young colonist gasped. She's going to die." "No," an older engineer muttered. "She knows something we don't. Watch her." Ilara spoke softly to herself, almost like she was talking to a wild animal back on Earth. "I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to see. I just want to help." The Terror-Hound sniffed again, its nostrils flaring. It let out a low, threatening growl vibrating in the air, but it didn't move forward. Its gaze was sharp, intelligent, calculating. Ilara took another careful step. Her mind raced. She had studied the creature's patterns, its movements, its behavior from the video feeds of prior encounters. She knew when it would strike, and she used that knowledge to stay just outside its attack range. "Look at her," whispered another colonist. "She's calm. She's not running like we are." A sudden noise, metal scraping against rock, made the Terror-Hound flinch. Its body tensed, ready to lunge. Ilara froze, holding her breath. Then she slowly extended a hand, palm open, toward its massive head. "It's okay," she said softly. "See? I'm not a threat." The beast growled again, this time lower, more cautious than before. Its muscles rippled under the dark scales, and the humans could see its sharp claws flex. A shiver went through the crowd watching from the shelter. They had never seen an apex predator this close, never like this. Many had only heard stories, the deadliest hunter in the sector, untouchable, unapproachable. Ilara's hand hovered near the creature's neck. Sweat dripped down her forehead, stinging her eyes, but she didn't move back. The Terror-Hound sniffed, then moved its massive head slightly toward her hand. She felt a jolt of tension but stayed firm. "Good boy," she whispered. Her voice was calm, steady, confident. The humans behind her whispered in awe. "Is it letting her touch it?" It's softening," someone breathed. Then, without warning, the Terror-Hound snapped its jaws shut near her hand, but not at her. It bit down on the edge of a jagged rock, testing, warning. Ilara flinched slightly but stayed in position, knowing that any sudden movement could trigger an attack. She leaned closer, speaking in gentle tones. "I'm not leaving. I'm not afraid." The creature growled again, long and low, shaking its massive body. Then, slowly, it allowed her to scratch behind its ears. The sound of scales scraping against her fingers was sharp, metallic, and horrifying to the untrained ear, but the humans watched in stunned silence. The Terror-Hound's red eyes narrowed, not with anger, but with something resembling recognition. "Unbelievable," an engineer whispered. She's connecting with it." Ilara kept talking softly, each word measured, steady. "You're not alone. I won't run. You don't have to fight me." The Terror-Hound's growl softened. Its massive body lowered slightly, and the humans realized that the beast, this terrifying apex predator, was listening, understanding in a way they never thought possible. For the first time, the colony felt a shift. Fear still lingered, but so did awe. The humans were clever, brave, and unyielding. Where alien predators ruled by instinct and fear, the humans faced them with mind and heart. And in this dangerous moment, it became clear. The Terror-Hound was powerful, but so was the human standing before it. The first step had been taken. And it was only the beginning. The Terror-Hound's massive body trembled slightly as Alara held her hand against its bristling scales. The red glow of its eyes softened, though the threat it carried was still clear. The colony watched from behind the metal barriers, their faces pale but hopeful. No one dared move closer. No one except Alara. "You're not so bad, huh?" she whispered, scratching behind its ears carefully. Sparks of alien dust rose from the creature's skin as she moved. The beast let out a low rumble, vibrating through the air like a distant drum. It sniffed her hair, then lowered its head closer to the ground, testing her patience and her courage. From the control hut, Lieutenant Rafe barked orders. "Everyone stay calm. Don't do anything stupid." His voice shook slightly, betraying fear. "That thing could crush a mech in seconds." "I'm not stupid," Alara muttered, not taking her eyes off the beast. "I know what I'm doing." A tremor ran through the ground as the Terror-Hound moved its massive paws, circling her slowly. Its claws scratched against the rocky floor, leaving deep grooves. Every colonist's heart raced. They had seen alien predators kill without hesitation. But here the creature hesitated. It didn't strike. It observed. It considered. Alara crouched, keeping her hands low. "Easy, calm, you're safe." Her voice was firm, almost commanding, but gentle. The beast growled softly, more a warning than a threat. Then, surprisingly, it nudged her shoulder with its massive snout. Alara froze, barely breathing, then smiled. "See? You can trust me." The colony's communications officer, Mira, gasped from the shelter. "It's letting her touch it. I can't believe it." "It's incredible," whispered another worker, gripping the railing. "She's doing what no one else could." Suddenly, a loud screech echoed from the cliffs. A pack of smaller alien predators emerged, their eyes glowing faintly in the dying sun. They were fast, aggressive, and hungry, and they looked toward the colony. Panic rippled through the humans, but Alara didn't move. She knew this was the real test. The Terror-Hound shifted its massive weight, placing itself between Alara and the approaching predators. Its growl deepened, vibrating like a war drum, warning the intruders. "Stay back," Alara said firmly, speaking to the alien pack as if it could understand her. "Not today." The smaller predators hesitated, sensing the dominance of the massive beast beside her. Alara seized the moment. She grabbed a flare gun from her belt and fired it into the sky. A bright streak of red light arced overhead, startling the alien predators. They screeched again, confused and wary. The Terror-Hound bared its teeth, letting out a roar that shook the rocks and sent dust and debris tumbling down the cliffs. "Good boy," Alara shouted, feeling a surge of adrenaline. The humans behind her watched in stunned silence, seeing a bond forming between human and apex predator. "See? We can do this together." One of the young colonists whispered, trembling. She's commanding it, controlling it, somehow." Alara took a cautious step closer to the beast, letting her palms slide over its rough scales. "You don't need to fight alone," she murmured. The Terror-Hound's ears twitched, and it seemed to understand, lowering its massive body slightly as if bowing to her trust. Suddenly the ground shook again. A deep fissure opened near the settlement, and from it, a smaller, yet equally dangerous creature slithered upward. Its body was covered in spiked armor, and its eyes glowed green. The colony froze in terror. That's worse than the first one," Mira cried. Alara didn't flinch. "We've got this," she said firmly. She signaled to the Terror-Hound. The massive beast growled, its red eyes locked on the new threat. With a powerful leap, it sprang forward, its claws digging into the rocky ground, moving faster than anything the humans could have expected. Alara followed, sprinting alongside it, shouting commands. "Keep your distance. Watch the spikes." Her voice was steady, filled with authority. The alien predator hissed and lunged, but the Terror-Hound met it with overwhelming force, knocking it back with a swipe of its claw. Dust, sparks, and alien scales flew through the air. "Unbelievable," Rafe shouted, watching from the shelter. "She's actually controlling it, not controlling, guiding it." The humans realized something astonishing. Where others might cower, humans were clever. Where others might flee, humans faced danger with strategy and courage. And where alien predators relied on brute strength, humans could turn even the deadliest creatures into allies, if they dared to connect. The smaller predator, realizing it was outmatched, retreated back into the fissure, leaving only the Terror-Hound and Alara standing tall. The beast lowered its head to her chest, letting out a long, low rumble. She placed her hand on its snout and whispered, "Good. You're safe now, we're safe together." The colony exhaled as one. Fear remained, but hope burned brighter. Humans had shown once again that cleverness, bravery, and trust could bend even the wildest, most terrifying predators to their will. In that moment, Ilara and the Terror-Hound became not just allies, but a symbol of human dominance and understanding in a galaxy full of danger. The calm after the Terror-Hound's show of power was brief. From the horizon, a swarm of sleek, black ships appeared, cutting across the orange sky like jagged knives. Alien hunters, their species notorious for hunting sentient life and apex predators alike, descended with a deafening roar of engines and the sharp hum of energy weapons. The colony erupted into chaos. Shields up. All units, positions. Lieutenant Rafe shouted, running between barricades. Sweat dripped down his face, but his eyes blazed with determination. Colonists scrambled for weapons and cover, their hearts hammering. The alien ships hovered with predatory precision, scanning for any sign of movement. Ilara stood in the open field, hand resting lightly on the Terror-Hound's massive neck. "We can't just hide," she said firmly. "They're hunting us, and him." The massive creature growled low in response, its glowing red eyes tracking the ships. Dust swirled around its claws as it crouched, ready to spring. Ilara whispered, "We fight together. We don't run." The first volley of plasma beams struck the outer barricades. Sparks flew, metal bent, and alarms screamed. One colonist screamed as a beam passed dangerously close, sending chunks of rock flying. "Take cover," shouted Rafe, but Ilara stood her ground. She had a plan. The Terror-Hound leaped forward, faster than the eye could follow, its massive body smashing through debris and sending alien drones tumbling. It snarled, claws raking the ground, tearing up the rocky terrain. Ilara sprinted alongside, firing a series of flares into the approaching ships, distracting their targeting systems. "Over here. Watch him, watch me," she shouted, weaving between rocks. One of the alien hunters fired a precision shot at her, but the Terror-Hound reacted instantly, knocking her aside with its massive head. She rolled, landed on her feet, and signaled to the colonists. "Now, hit their engines when they descend." Colonists scrambled with makeshift explosives and energy traps. A well-aimed charge hit a hovering alien ship, sending it spinning into the rocky cliffs. Explosions painted the sky red, reflecting in the Terror-Hound's scales. The beast roared, shaking the ground, a terrifying display of raw power that made even the bravest alien hunters hesitate. "You see? They think we're weak," Ilara shouted over the chaos, her voice steady. "But they don't know humans. We adapt. We fight smart." A young scout, barely 16, fired a plasma rifle at a hovering alien ship, but the recoil knocked him back. The Terror-Hound turned instantly, swiping a claw through a swarm of alien drones. Sparks flew, one drone exploded in midair, and the alien ship wobbled before crashing. The humans cheered, their morale surging despite the fear. Ilara climbed onto a boulder for better visibility, pointing at another descending ship. "Flank it. Don't let them land." Her eyes scanned rapidly for weaknesses. The humans executed her commands with precision. Smoke, dust, and fire filled the valley as the battle intensified. A sudden screech echoed from above. One of the alien hunters released a terrifying creature, smaller than the Terror-Hound but faster, armed with blades for claws. It dived straight at the human line. Ilara reacted instantly, pulling a flare pistol and firing it into the creature's path. The beast twisted midair, narrowly avoiding the bright light. The Terror-Hound lunged, intercepting the predator mid-leap. A violent clash shook the ground as metal claws and teeth collided with alien scales. "Keep pushing," Ilara yelled, ducking under a falling beam. "They underestimated us, and they'll regret it." Rafe, watching from the barricade, shook his head in disbelief. "How is one human controlling that thing? How are we surviving this?" Ilara didn't answer. She didn't need to. Her actions spoke louder than words. She ran alongside the Terror-Hound, dodging energy blasts and debris, guiding it toward each alien hunter with a combination of hand signals, shouts, and instinctive commands. The beast obeyed, moving faster and striking harder than anyone thought possible. The alien hunters, realizing they were outmatched, began retreating. Their ships ascended, leaving the valley scorched and smoldering. The smaller predator had been subdued by the Terror-Hound, pinned with claws and growls until it fled. Smoke rose in thick clouds, casting an eerie glow over the battlefield. Ilara crouched beside the massive creature, breathing heavily but smiling. "See? We survived, together." The Terror-Hound nudged her gently with its massive head, letting out a low, satisfied rumble. Around them, humans emerged from cover, faces streaked with dust and grime, hearts still racing but eyes filled with awe. Colonists whispered among themselves, realizing what they had witnessed. They said humans couldn't dominate apex predators, or alien hunters, one muttered. But they were wrong. Rafe approached, nodding at Alara. You led them, and that thing. Incredible. You showed them humans aren't just prey. We're clever. We're strong. And we survive. Alara looked at the horizon where the alien ships had vanished, and then down at the Terror-Hound. This is just the beginning, she said softly. We've earned their respect, but the galaxy isn't done testing us yet. The humans had survived the impossible. They had faced alien hunters, deadly predators, and their own fear, and had come out alive, stronger, and united. In the shadow of the Terror-Hound, they understood something fundamental. Human cleverness, courage, and daring could bend even the most terrifying threats to their will. And the galaxy had just begun to take notice. The valley was quiet now, but the calm was a trap. From the rocky cliffs above, a faint signal blared. Someone was trapped out there. A human scout, barely responding over the comm, was pinned under a fallen transport crate. Panic laced his voice. I can't move, they're coming, help. Alara's eyes narrowed. Stay with me, Jirin. We're coming. She didn't hesitate. Around her, the colony was still recovering from the alien hunter strike, but she ignored the rubble, the smoke, and the fear. The Terror-Hound growled, sensing the urgency, its massive claws scratching against the rocks as it prepared to move. The cliffs above trembled. A new threat emerged. Smaller predators, sleek and fast, their spiked tails lashing violently, stalking the injured scout. They hissed, scanning the valley for weakness. The humans could see their sharp, glinting teeth even from a distance. Every colonist froze, hearts hammering. We've got to move fast, Alara said, sprinting ahead. The Terror-Hound leaped beside her, its enormous body covering her path like living armor. Dust and debris flew from its pounding paws, making the ground shake. Sparks erupted as its claws dug into jagged rocks, sending shards tumbling down the slope. Hold on, Jirin. Don't panic, she shouted over the roar of the predators. The scout whimpered, terrified, as one of the alien creatures skidded closer, claws scraping the stone. Alara spotted a narrow ledge above. Up there. On my mark, she yelled, firing a flare at the cliff wall to startle the predators. The beast hissed and leaped toward the light, their spiked tails lashing out, but the Terror-Hound intercepted them with a ferocious swipe, knocking one off the ledge. The other predator hesitated, snarling, but the giant apex predator growled back, teeth bared. Alara grabbed Jirin, pulling him toward the ledge. Almost there. Keep your hands and your head down. The chase intensified. Rocks crumbled underfoot and every movement could trigger a fall. Sparks flew as alien claws scraped the metal remains of the fallen transport, trying to reach the humans. Alara's mind raced, she needed a plan and she needed it fast. Jirin, can you climb? She shouted, hoisting him up a rock face. He nodded weakly, too scared to speak. The Terror-Hound roared again, leaping ahead, creating a living barricade between the predators and the humans. Its glowing red eyes locked on the smaller predators, daring them to advance. A predator lunged from the side, faster than expected, claws extended. Alara barely dodged, rolling behind a rock, and fired her flare at the creature's face. The light blinded it momentarily, giving the Terror-Hound the chance to strike. With a single powerful swipe, the predator was knocked into a boulder, groaning but alive. Stay close to me, Alara yelled. We're not done yet. She glanced at the horizon. Another predator pack was approaching, alerted by the commotion. Her mind worked quickly, devising a trap. She spotted a narrow canyon nearby, its walls tight and jagged. Through the canyon. Fast. Jirin scrambled beside her, fear etched into every movement. The Terror-Hound led the way, muscles rippling as it cleared the path. The predators followed, snarling, claws scraping the rocks, but the humans had an advantage: strategy. Alara fired makeshift flash traps along the canyon walls, stunning the approaching creatures. Sparks lit the narrow gorge and the predators skidded, confused, slowing their charge. Now, Terror-Hound, she shouted. The massive creature roared, leaping forward and blocking the predator's path. Its sheer size and agility caused two of them to tumble down the canyon side, unable to recover. The humans gained precious seconds. Alara helped Jirin climb the last ledge. Almost there, keep moving, she urged, her voice steady, commanding. The scout's eyes widened in awe as the Terror-Hound swiped another predator away, then nudged him gently upward. Go. Don't stop. Finally they reached the plateau above, battered but alive. Jiren collapsed, panting, and looked up at Ilara and the Terror-Hound. I didn't think we'd make it, he gasped. Ilara smiled, brushing dust from her uniform. Humans always find a way. We're clever and we fight together. She looked at the Terror-Hound, which lowered its massive head, letting out a satisfied rumble. The bond between them had deepened. It wasn't just predator and human, it was partnership. The remaining predators retreated, their numbers diminished, their confidence broken. The humans had survived not only because of brute force, but because of strategy, courage, and their unbreakable bond with the apex predator. Around them, the colony watched from a distance, hearts still racing but eyes filled with awe. Lieutenant Rafe finally approached, shaking his head. I've seen humans face danger, but this? Leading a hunt with that thing. You're changing everything we thought we knew. Ilara patted the Terror-Hound's massive snout. It's not just us, she said quietly. It's every human who dares to stand. Every human who uses their mind, not just their fists. We survive because we think. We survive because we act. And we survive because we never run. Jiren nodded, still trembling but inspired. I get it now. Humans, we're not prey. Not ever. The plateau settled into an uneasy calm. Dust swirled around the Terror-Hound's massive paws, the air thick with tension and triumph. The humans had faced the chase, faced the predators, and come out alive. And in that moment, the galaxy's deadliest creatures understood something new. Humans were not weak and they never backed down. Ilara looked to the horizon, where the next challenge awaited. The chase isn't over, she whispered. But we're ready. The valley was quiet, but it was not peace. Smoke still rose from scorched rocks, and the stench of burned alien machinery filled the air. The humans stood together, battered, bruised, and breathing heavily. Around them, the Terror-Hound rested, massive body coiled like a living fortress, its glowing red eyes scanning for any remaining threat. Ilara stepped forward, surveying the scene. The colony had survived impossible attacks. Alien hunters, packs of deadly predators, and impossible terrain. And now, standing beside the Terror-Hound, she understood something fundamental. The galaxy had begun to recognize humans in a way it never had before. Colonists emerged from the shelter, some limping, others wide-eyed with awe. I've never seen courage like that, whispered Mira, the communications officer, voice trembling. Not even in the Holovitz. They work with that beast. They lead it. Ilara didn't answer immediately. She knelt beside the Terror-Hound, brushing dust from its bristling scales. You see, she said softly, we can earn trust. We can face fear. We can survive together. The creature lowered its massive head, letting out a low rumble that vibrated through the ground. For the first time, its growl sounded almost approving. From the cliffs above, a shadow moved. A squad of alien scouts approached cautiously, peering from the rocks. Their species was known for hunting humans for sport, yet now even they hesitated. They had seen the humans fight alongside apex predators, strategy and courage combined, and they paused, unsure how to respond. Lieutenant Rafe raised his hand, signaling the humans to stay calm. Let them watch, he said. They're learning what we've always known. Humans survive. Humans dominate when they must. One scout stepped forward, slowly, hands raised in acknowledgement. It was a gesture of respect, a rarity among the galaxy's hunters. Ilara met its gaze, unflinching. We don't need your approval, she said. We only need to protect ourselves and each other. The scout hesitated, then retreated back into the shadows, leaving a silent understanding behind. The colony exhaled. Murmurs spread like wildfire. Did you see that? One worker said. They respected us. The aliens, they respected humans. Ilara stood, brushing dust from her uniform, and surveyed the horizon. The Terror-Hound padded beside her, its massive claws leaving deep grooves in the rocky earth. We've proven something, she said, voice carrying across the plateau. Not just to them but to ourselves. Humans are clever. Humans are brave. Humans survive, and they earn respect. Jiren, the scout they had rescued earlier, stepped forward shakily. I get it now, he said, eyes wide. We're not just fighting to survive. We can face anything, even creatures that are bigger, faster, and stronger than us. We can dominate. Ilara smiled, placing a hand on his shoulder. Yes, but it's not just strength. It's mind, courage, and strategy. We win because we think, because we trust, and because we act when others hesitate. In the distance, the horizon glimmered with the setting sun. Alien predators and hunters had retreated, but their shadows lingered, as if the galaxy itself had taken notice. The humans and their apex ally had carved a statement into the land. The galaxy underestimated humans at its own peril. The Terror-Hound let out a final low rumble, resting its massive head on Alara's shoulder. The humans around them felt the weight of the moment. Fear had turned to awe. Panic had turned to pride. And in the hearts of those who watched, a new understanding settled. The humans were not prey. They were dominant. Lieutenant Rafe walked forward, placing a hand on Alara's back. You've done more than survive. You've changed everything. The galaxy will remember this. Alara looked down at the Terror-Hound, whose massive eyes seemed to reflect the fiery horizon. We earned respect, she said quietly, almost to herself. Not just by fighting, but by standing together, by facing fear, and by daring to connect with what others could only run from. Around them, the colony slowly began to rebuild, but the mood was different now. There was pride in every movement, confidence in every glance. Humans had faced the impossible, and they had not just survived, they had risen above it. The Terror-Hound nudged Alara gently, as if acknowledging her words. She patted its snout and whispered, "We'll face whatever comes next, together." High above, the first stars of the alien night blinked into existence. Somewhere out there, predators, hunters, and unknown dangers waited. But the humans stood tall, clever, brave, and unyielding. And the galaxy had learned a simple, undeniable truth. When humans face danger, even the deadliest creatures recognize them as equals, or risk paying the price. Alara turned to the colony, raising her voice so all could hear. Today we survived. Tomorrow we will thrive. We are humans. We do not falter. We do not run. And we do not bow. Respect is earned, and today we earned it. The Terror-Hound let out a final, thunderous roar, echoing across the valley. The humans cheered. Dust, smoke, and alien debris swirled in the fading light. They had faced apex predators, alien hunters, impossible threats, and had come out stronger. In that moment, humans were no longer just survivors. They were dominant. They were respected. And the galaxy had no choice but to notice.